We're back. We took a vacation. Was it worth it? There's the question. Are golf vacations truly worth it? Let's find that one out. And lefties, I might have a few deals for you while we're still talking, so stay tuned on What's in My Drawers Golf Talk next. Welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McCleary here, and we are in the McGolf shop. Why is it What's in My Drawers? Because old club makers and club fitters are tremendous pack rats. I'm no different. It's about what's in my drawers over in my shop. And what we talk about here is golf club repairs, reviews, and fittings, all so your scores can go low. All right. Now, typically what we go over is the winners and past winners. We're not going to do that. We're going to talk about the things that I was built in the past week. I didn't do anything, so we're not going to talk about that. And then we'll just throw this deal out right now. So you saw me talk to you guys about the 925s, right? These guys right here. You've seen, I did a video of it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on the channel. We talk about the Mizuno Hot Metal and the Hot Metal Pro. Nice clubs, okay? Nice clubs. Because of that, that just made the 923s no longer in stock, and they really aren't. And it just so happens I have a set of left-handed, still in the wrapper, Hot Metal forged, left-handed, keep that in mind. I got a Hot Metal Pro, left-handed, still in the wrapper, keep that in mind. And I've got a Hot Metal. All right, a Hot Metal. And they're 5 through the gap. I'm pretty sure they're all 5 through the gap. All right. If you're interested, lefties, and you want them, you get them what we paid for them plus the shipping. There you go. Now, for the righties, I didn't leave you out. The S23s. Here's a right-handed S23, never been shafted. It is a 5610, means 56, a sandwich with 10 degrees of bounce. It is also a D grind. This is one of my most favorite ones, where a little bit of heel, a little bit of toe, nice, not big enough sole not to get stuck. And those are heads only. Now, if you are interested in a couple of the other ones, I do have some completed wedges, and they're in the denim copper, and I believe they're T24s with D that. If you're interested, let Mrs. McGolf know. You get them what we got them at. Good to go. We're getting rid of them so we can get the next one, because I just got the 25s in. All right, I just got the 25s in. So what do I do when I set these things up for me here at McGolf? Well, you see that right there? I go to my trusty dusty drill press, and I make it look like that. Hopefully you can see the difference. This one's bigger. Why is that? So it can hold my adapter. So when it's all said and done, it will look like that. Okay. And that's the way all my things are set up, so that they can use shafts with the same adapters that are on these shafts. So I can use this plethora of shafts in order to fit all these different ones. And just before getting on, I was really rocking and rolling with the drill press. I made a few more of those flight things I showed you with the pars and pores on it. Also, I have at least 9 or 12 of these. I'm not sure how many I've got. I think I got 9. Anyway, 2 of each size, so it's 1, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. Maybe I got 8. And anyway, I've got half of them drilled. I got to drill out the other half and then glue them all so that we can get back to fitting Mizuno product. So there it goes. So if you don't remember the Mizuno Pro, the Mizuno Hot Metal, it's in the channel. Go up there and take a look at it. Very impressive. The sound is much different, I would say. It's not saying that these are bad. These were really great clubs. They did very, very well at McGolf. These guys are just a hint better. Now, if we did the live stream the last time we were on, and we had our friend from Mizuno on here, John, and he had a lot to do with the face orientation. There's an elliptus in here so that you get some more ball speed even if you get into these two areas. They also had something to do with the badging and that bar, and that has to do with support and sound. So you guys, I don't think we're going to have a We're not going to have a bad one in the bunch. The other part that I really dig on these new ones that the old ones did not have, and that's probably the single biggest advantage, is that each one of the sets are going to have their own gap wedge. Where in the older set, you just had this universal gap wedge and you made it fit. Now, the other ones will have gap wedges that are married up as part of the set. So they did a pretty good job. Let's just go right there. Okay, so vacations. Golf vacations. So when you go on a golf vacation, what do? Well, here's how we do it. So me and Mrs. McGolf, along with our friends, my buddy Bob and Penny, we've been taking vacations for quite some time. To the point, the first time we went to Myrtle Beach, and I bought a pair of these very expensive beach shoes, and I still got them, and we still wear them, and I still make a comment that that's a moniker of our very first trip. But the flavor of each one of our trips is it's beach for the ladies, golf for the guys, and that's how we do it. So lately here we've been in this rotation between Gulf Shores, and then we do Myrtle Beach, and then we split it between either the St. Augustine or Destin, right? And Destin's really not too far from Gulf Shores, but Myrtle Beach is quite a bit away from St. Augustine. But it gets us into different locations on these things, and we've been pleasantly surprised for the most part. Now, we did include one year we put Ocean City, Maryland in there, but that was a whole different animal. So that's what we do, and normally it's driving distance kind of an issue because Mrs. McGolf packs for days, and so that's what we do. So then once we figure that out, the ladies get to pick where they want to stay. Normally this involves a condo of some variety with a balcony that faces the water. And normally it's either the Gulf or the Atlantic Ocean. And so far, so good. We have not hit a dud yet. In fact, this last time was probably one of the nicer places that we've stayed. And it was in Crescent Beach, which is just south of St. Augustine. Very nice place. And there's not a whole lot going on. In fact, if you want to go to a store or anything like that, you were driving a mile or a couple miles to get to where you needed to go. That's how far off the beaten path this was. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, not necessarily a bad thing at all. Yellowstone single barrel. Anyway, so then once we decide where we're going to be staying, then Bob and I get together and we start throwing out darts we go top 10, top 5, top 10 places to golf in the surrounding area. Because, we don't want to drive an hour and a half to go play golf, as we want to come back and jump in the pool. So in we did it this time in St. Augustine. There's every one of these communities has a top 5. If you get to, I had a metal burr here from doing all that drilling. It has now since fallen off. At least I hope so. Anyway, so we go to the top 10, top 20, whatever there's several golf vacation websites. Now, the thing with the golf vacation websites is they want you to do an all-inclusive, basically saying, hey, we'll stay at this hotel, you'll rent this car, and we'll get you this golf, and it's all one price. We don't necessarily do that. Now, if that's your game, fine, that's your game. Now, we did find once when we were in Myrtle Beach, we tried using a concierge to find us golf, and it turned out that we were paying $20 each extra a round than if we went and did it ourselves for the convenience of having that guy do it for us. So $40 to go schedule us a thing, I thought was a bit off the top. So we basically do it ourselves. Now, again, I know there's other sites out there that can help us do it, but what we like doing is looking at the websites and checking out the pictures, seeing what they got to say, that kind of stuff, and it kind of makes it an event all of its own. It's an excuse to throw some stuff on the grill and get together. And that's what we did this time. So we ended up playing at St. John's Bay. I'll give St. John's Bay a thumbs up. I won't give it a great thumbs up, but it was a good thumbs up. And it turns out we met somebody from where? Ohio. And he turns out he was a manager of a Budweiser canning factory. Now, not to go too deep in the conversation, but I asked him how many cans does this factory make in a year? And he said slightly over 1 billion. That's a lot of cans. And he does about 12 in a good shift, if everything's rocking and rolling right, about 12 million in a day. That's a that's a 500,000 cans an hour. That is rocking and rolling. So anyway, he told us that we asked us where we were playing, and we told him, and we had one of them to the point I don't remember, and I don't want to give it a bad word, but anyway, he says, "Oh, you don't want to go there because the greens have been lost. They had some new ownership, and they lost their greens. It wasn't in very good shape. Now they are trying. I will say they are trying to get it back." So I said, "Well, where's another one?" He said, "Stillwater." Okay, so Mrs. McGolf got on the horn and we flipped some around, and now we're golfing at Stillwater in place of this other place. Good. Next day we played at Royal St. Andrews. I don't recommend. All right, it's a locals track basically, and just so happens that the mowers had been broken for quite some time, and they were just pulling in basically as we were there, maybe within while we were gone out in the back, and it's a track that weaves through. There's like 3 different communities, and it tells you about you got the stones that tells you about which community you're going into, and this thing weaves through 3 different communities. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just wasn't in good shape. Now it wasn't as it should be. It was the least expensive of the 5 that we did. So, cost for performance, was it there? I'd say it's a little bit higher. If they had been mowed and that kind of stuff, probably not so bad. But those first 2 were very tight. And if you're offline just even a slight little bit, because it's been warm, it's Florida, and it would bounce into the junk. Well, when you go into Florida and you're in the junk, there's things in there that want to eat you back. And so we would leave golf balls behind. Let's just say the first 2 rounds were a bit pricey. A bit pricey. It was me on the first one and Bob on the second one. So then we start getting into the different ones. We played the Slammer and the Squire. Definitely a thumbs up and a recommendation. We did not get to play the King and the Bear because it was still under construction. For those of you interested in going down there, they said October-ish, maybe. All right, October-ish, maybe. I would wait. If you really are interested, you might wait till the new year to try and take it on, so you have a little bit of time for the course to mature, just even get some legs underneath of it, maybe even a little bit longer, but they said it'll be ready. Now, this is where the Hall of Fame, the Golf Hall of Fame was at. It's no longer there. It's in Pinehurst. And so this building is sitting empty, which is a travesty because it's a super nice building. So anyway, we played there, had a lot of fun, and we got up with another single. Where's he from? Ohio. There's a trend. And good guy, doing a lot of stuff. In fact, he was a dentist. So doing very well. And that's what we like to see. And then next, we went to the LPGA, which was in Daytona Beach, which was our longest drive. And I thought it was being close to an hour. It ended up being 45 minutes. And we went right by, I don't know if Steve's going to be on here, but Steve, and I'm going to butcher his last name, Mercurialis. Anyway, sorry, Steve. He invited us to go play at his home course, which is, I've played it, and it is super nice. But we were already scheduled for a lot of stuff. And so we drove right by his place in order to go to the LPGA. LPGA was very, very nice. The story there goes, we are literally the first tee time. And the lady that was in there says, "Hey, if you want to, hit a few balls and just get going, you'll be the first ones out and you can get ahead of everybody. And we love that because, number one, we had a longer drive to come back. And once we get going, Bob and I get into a groove and we can tear up 18 holes very quickly. And we started like that. We took off and we got about to hole 3. I started noticing golf ball trails and footprints and all kinds of stuff. I said, I don't know if we're the first guys out. By about hole 3, maybe 4, we figured out we were not. And it doesn't bother us. There's another twosome. And we ran into a member that was trailing us, and he decided not to stick around. He just went around and got his faster round in because he was a single. Anyway, LPGA. We were in the hills. There were 2 courses there. We were on the hills, and very neat. There was 1 or 2 funky why are they here kind of holes, but as a whole, it was in really good shape. Played very well, and it was surprisingly the greens were surprisingly slower than what I would have thought an LPGA course would have. But it was in really good shape. The sand was fluffy. Everything good. There was just everything good about it. We were just walking over the dew. One more mention of that before we get to the last one. The dew. So if you guys haven't figured it out, Florida is humid, and oh my God! And when we went out, it was like every time we walked out of the door, it was like putting on a wool blanket. And it wasn't burning hot. It was in the mid to upper 80s, but this humidity was just awful. And it wasn't any more apparent than the last one, which was Stillwater. Stillwater's in a budding 55 and over community, and it's more of a linksish style. And it was set up pretty nice, and the greens were running quite quick. Bob and I got kind of gun shy at this one because we just really didn't know. And but it was a neat layout. It really was. It was a neat little layout, and we enjoyed ourselves. And we got done there. It was just like we jumped in a damn pool. It was just so thick. One last thing, and then we'll keep going. In the last couple of holes, what Bob and I like to do is we go to the tips just to play it, just to see what happens. And because we're out having fun, right? Yeah, we like to score well, but let's just see what happens. Well, on this one, number 17 was a par 3. And when we were playing at my tees, which were the white tees, our tees, the white tees, it was about a 170-ish par 3. And I'm like, wow, that's a pretty decent little par 3. It's protected by bunkers and whatnot. And he go, well, let's go back to the other one. We go back to the other one. And he goes, oh, no, partner. Back to the tips. And there was a whole nother set of markers that instead of having the ball had these tree cutouts, which was the logo of the course. Went all the way back there and shot that. It was 250-yard par 3. Needless to say, neither one of us reached the green, and that was not a happy hole. We got to the par 4, and literally the par 4 wasn't much longer than that par 3. That was really weird, but we got through it, got home, and jumped in the pool. So I tell you all this, and we got through it, and just to let you know, we paid just shy of 400, or just a skosh over 460 for all those rounds. I don't think that's a bad deal when you're going into a place that has, Slammer and Esquire, LPGA. This last place was really nice. The other 2 were comparably priced, but we don't need to go back to them. And then you're going to pay for the condo one way or another. And as long as the women liked it, we were happy, they were happy. And it was nice. It was a very nice place. So is it worth it? Is it worth the drive down or the fly down? Is it worth it to go get you a condo? Is it worth it to go golfing? Is it worth it to go palling around with somebody? Would you do it as a single? I've done it as a single. And I'm used to that kind of stuff because I'm a ex-shift worker. However, I'm here to tell you, it's a lot more fun with a friend. Okay, it's a lot more fun with a friend. It's a lot more fun with a couple. I'm here to tell you, we have an absolute ball, right? Have an absolute ball. The conversation never stops. The cackling never stops. The going into the water never stops. Literally drinking never stops. I mean, it's just all good. The eating never stops. Oh, I got one recommendation. If you get into St. Augustine Sunset Grill, try the chicken and waffles. You will like it. Okay. So is it worth it? Yeah, I think it's worth it. For us, it's a 12-hour ride down. We're in there, we're in there, we go and we hit the streets running. And in this particular one, what we've done is, and by command, is one of the days we take one of the days we don't go golfing and we go into the town and just go wherever the local the local vibe takes us. In this particular instance, St. Augustine is what is billed as the oldest city in the U.S. and there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of history from the local Indians, the Spanish, the French, the British, and then what it's come to today, and the Flagler story. I'm not going to go through it, but the Flagler story is incredibly interesting on how all that stuff comes to be. And then there's those places to visit. They got some forts, they got some really cool shops. It just goes on for days. Okay, and so it was really neat. So we got there and we tell you all that. So let's go through some of this. So here's some of our days. This is the St. John's, I believe. Yeah, neat little layout. I mean, the St. John's was a neat layout. We really had a good time there. I didn't take any pictures of Royal St. Augustine because honestly, it just wasn't worth it. And that is the LPGA course right there. And you can see we're get early morning, man. That is the dew. Okay. And which one's that? That is actually, this is the Royal St. Augustine. Is probably the best hole in the course, which was number 10. And then more St. John's Bay. We saw that one earlier. That one, LPGA. This one, I think, is not Stillwater. I don't think I took any of Stillwater either because we were just busy playing. LPGA again. And there's Bob getting ready to hit into the sun. And we did that. When you see the three wheels, that's a push cart. Oh, there we go. That's the king, the slammer and the squire. That's what that was. Back here when I was telling you about that. Not that one. Slammer and the squire. That's what that is. Okay. And then we get down here, Slammer and Squire. And then we had a big, massive rainstorm. And what do we have as the Sirius XM? If you guys listen to Red, White, and Booze, it's a double rainbow. Anyway, that's right there. It had a double rainbow going on. That was cool. And yeah, that was St. John's. And I believe that might have been the Royal St. Augustine. And then here's a couple of shots of being in St. Augustine itself, the church that he did, and then we go back up to the top. Some more of the same. That's us. We went and took the tour with the golf cart. I recommend that highly. And then we stopped at the distillery, which was St. Augustine Distillery, which used to be an ice house. And there was some of the old memorabilia that they had. And that was pretty much the vacation. Right? It's pretty much the vacation. So, is it worth it? Yeah. I think the camaraderie, the price worth the camaraderie, the friends and everything, worth every minute. And you get to play golf and you get to go jump in a pool and you get to go eat just crazy good food. So, yeah, it's worth it. You just got to plan it, take your time and plan it. Now, I will say you need to plan in advance. The difference between the Florida trips and the Myrtle Beach trips are that the Florida trips, at least on that side of the state, we were not able to book most of our stuff until it was basically a week in advance. That can be pretty tough. One was maybe a month in advance. Myrtle Beach is typically a month in advance, so you can at least know that you're locking down something good. And that was really what we were looking for. Now, some of them are 2 weeks in advance. We found the Gulf Shores and the ones in the Bay are about 2 weeks in advance. It was kind of odd to be only 1 week in advance, particularly in this area. but we were able to get them thanks to Mrs. McGolf and Penny. They helped us out, and we got our rounds in. So there you go. So I totally think it's worth it. Okay, so let's go through that. So as far as so if you guys watched, I did a video on the new Callaway Apex. Callaway Apex, definitely a club to look into, right? The iron game is going to be strong this year. With the Callaway Apex, they have the A200, the A300, the 200 more like the Pro model, 300 more like the more forgiving model, but they're employing the True Temper Mid DGs in the 90 or the 100, which I did not know existed, and those are actually some pretty decent shafts. Okay, they actually work pretty good, and they went out there, and if you guys watched it, I was able to clobber a 7-iron out to 190. It was just crazy. I got all kinds of good hit on it. And what I was really afraid of is to hit a hot spot. And because their original what do you call it, cup face technology clubs had hot spots. These did not. And I hit them all over the map on there. And I came back in and I hit them, and they were all very, very similar within a couple of yards of each other. I think it's, if distance was truly your concern, then the 300. If control was truly your concern, then the 200. And you're only giving up it's a yard or two. It was all about spin. Now, I will say I put my gamers in play against them, and it fell right in the middle. And the reason being was I was creating a little more spin with my gamers than I was with these guys. So take it as you like, but the ball, even in the hard conditions, was not like rolling off the back of the green. You play it correctly and you can leave it where it's at. So if you haven't seen those, go back and take a look at it. I released the Apex one yesterday. All righty. Let's do some answering. Matt says no rounds because soccer's in play now. Has anyone used the backstrike type putter? And if you did, what did you think? Well, I've worked on plenty of them. I've putted with them. It's not a bad. It's kind of a unique way of having a center shafted putter. I just think that the uniqueness of the weirdness of the design might throw some people off. But if you can get past that and just see the golf ball, it should work. John jumped in there. Ooh, John, I like the new icon right there. Purple flames on a white car, not bad. All right, hit that thumbs up, please. That's what he's saying. Going off to a quick 9. Good for him. Jim Anderson, I wonder what's going on. Oh, it's a chilly East Central Scotland. Thank you very much. Oh, John Land. As far as gamification, we like to rent a condo townhouse on a course for the winter months and play there. Or venture out to different areas. I find it works very well. There you go. Very cool. All right, Charlie. Been modifying my laying angles of my irons, bent them about 1.5 degrees flatter. There's the results. 831.77, 891.81. Oh, only one got out of the way. Look at you go, man. So maybe you just needed a flatter club all this time because it sounds like you're striking the middle of the club all of a sudden. Good for you. That's awesome. There's Emmanuel. What do you say, sir? Hey, Jimmy Rob and all the other gearheads here. I soft set a set of multi-TEs. That's not a bad club with X100 shafts. If I do the 54 and 58 RTX heads, would I use the same shaft stepped or go with a 115 spinner? That's all preference, Emmanuel. But if there's several schools of thought. One that I tend to subscribe to is I like one to be a little bit heavier. Now, because they're called X100s, I don't believe that they're actually 100-gram shafts. That they're closer to 120s. And so if you're going to go with that, if you're looking for a spinner, you can't go too much higher than that, can you? Uh, if you're looking at 115 would be very, very close. If you like a particular feel, I'd say use the same shaft. And then you could soft step it, but I would trim it just a little bit more, right? Give it just like a quarter of an inch extra trim, and then it would probably work out really good. Flatter line angles will give me better turf interaction and a higher ball flight. There you go. That's perfect. We all like that. Higher ball flight means it's going to fly a little bit further as long as it's not, dead ducking out of the like that. And not bad. Not bad at all. And turf interaction is key, right? I just think that is, people tend to overlook that, and particularly guys that take a lot of turf. Now, while we were playing down in Florida, I'm more of a picker of the ball, but in a couple of instances, I got the ball before I got the turf, and of course, I don't have that feel to say that I did that. But I was like, oh man, I missed this ball. I took a big divot. It's not going to go very far. And it turns out it goes just as far, if not further, than the shots I've been hitting previously to clip that dirt just a little bit more. So, hey, that's just what it is. Yeah, it was a good time. I just spent, I don't know, 10 minutes talking about it, but I do it, I do like the St. Augustine area, but certainly we'd have to venture out a little further to find some other golf courses. I certainly want to play the King and the Bear eventually. I want to do that. Maybe go a little bit north of St. Augustine this time around and see what's up that way. Or we got to go out further, because you go up a little bit north and TPC Sawgrass comes into play. And I'm torn between the price versus the venue. And I just don't know. Would I pay $50 or $100 to go hit 2 or 3 shots onto the island green? Probably. just to say I did it. But is it worth $700 to go play a round of 18 when you can go play 5 or 6 courses for that same price? Is it worth the venue? Is it a bucket list? Is Sawgrass a bucket list item for you, like maybe a Pebble Beach would be? Manuel says Charlie bent my irons much flatter, and man, did it change the flight and distance. Much happier doing that. Good for you. But you guys are both gamers now, man. Figure give it a go to see what happens. Need to say I'm impressed with the results. Funny how such a small thing can make a big difference. Well, they say it's a game of yards measured in inches. All right. PZ's in the house. I have friends who have learned how to bend irons, or how to bend his own irons. He decided to bend his Mira's 9 degrees strong, and he now has a 12-degree 4-iron. Oh my God. Really? Why does somebody want to do that? And now he's also got a shovel too if he's playing Miras, because none of the mirrors are wide in the sole. But hey, if that's what he needs, that is somebody that's screaming, I need help with distance. No doubt. There you go. And a digger. That's what we were just saying. Bill Nauman, funny golf vacation topic came up in a group of 6 of us, just talked about going to Ocean City, Maryland this fall. Dude, you know what? Short of, we went there as they were transitioning from summer to fall. And so some of those places close up for the season. And so we were able to experience a couple of them, a couple of delis, and the crabs were in season. So, oh my gosh, it was great that way. We took our dog. It was her last trip basically. And it was really, really nice. And the place that we stayed, I will say, was probably not the most ritziest, but it did exactly what we wanted it to do. And we were able to venture out. There was some really nice golf to be had in that area. So I would recommend it. There's one with a lighthouse, I remember. Bob would have to help me on the other ones, but all the courses out there were very well done. Yep, you're right on top of it. Now there is another place called Queensland. I think it's not Queens Island. It's Queenstown. Queenstown is just on the other side of the bay as you're on your way to Ocean City, about, I don't know, 10 miles maybe. As you go through, you veer off to the right, and it's the first course on your left. That one does really good with veterans. It's a kind of a Navy slash Air Force. It's a private course, but there's so much military there that they take care of them, and so they do very well. And that was a really nice course too. Golf vacation with a non-golfing spouse is not fun. If like going to Pebble Beach because your spouse wants to go to a winery tour and you up taking a single trying to hook up with a threesome. Yeah, I've done that once or twice too, and I just say, I just take it as I come, and I say, hey, I'm a single. Thank you very much. I try to get out as early as I possibly can to get out in front of all of it. If not, then I take my chances. So far, I've been lucky, and Bob and I have been lucky with the people that we've met up. They've all been pretty decent folks. There's one or two, but not too bad. PZ says, hopefully I can chime in a bit tonight. I'm on the shop building another sub 70 wedge. I used to grind my own. Ordered with the low bounce this time and regret it. Ordered a new one and will grind it. Oh, there you go. Digger like an excavator. Oh yeah, I would imagine. Kill the leading edge on it. PZ, how low of a bounce is sub 70 wedge? That's a good question. My lowest bounce wedge is 4 degrees. That is a guy playing in some serious hard pan and is a serious slider. Oh, for me it would be. Charlie says, let's hit that thumbs up and help Jim out. I appreciate that, Charlie. Thank you very much. The low bounce options are 8, 7, and 6. I'm going to assume that's like a 52, 56, or 60, and whatever combo that might come up with. PZ Golf, 8 degrees, I can use. Anything less would be extreme. Yeah, well, now that you're coming a little flatter, you might be able to, but it also depends on, I found you. You're still there. See that little sucker? Look at that thing right there. You can see it. There it is. Stuck in my shirt. Anyway, bounce isn't just about the bounce in the club. It's also about how you use it, right? It's how you come through it, whether you're a slider or whether you're a digger or somewhere in between, and also the courses that you play. If you're playing a fairly nice, fairly well-kept, fairly lush course, the low bouncer probably is not going to be your friend, and it'll turn into that excavator like PZ was talking about. But if you're playing in some hard pan or some very, very close cut setups like we saw in Florida, then yeah, it might actually work out pretty good. And I will say, I took my 10-degree sand wedge, but it's the J grind for Jim, and it worked out pretty good. I was able to get underneath the ball, and it's all about how you get to the ball. The sand game, or not the sand game, but the short game was working pretty deep. Normally I'm good for zinging a handful of them across the green. This time, not so much. They also, as I played a little smarter too, which is kind of unique for me, but and making use of a pitching wedge, or even a gap wedge to get it up and down. Yeah, like a lawnmower. Waiting for epoxy joint at 58 with a 12. Ooh wee, there you go. That's what you call going after it. Main wedge 52, bent to 53, 56, 12. I like a 10. 12 was not too bad. Greetings from Myrtle Beach. John, how are you, buddy? Brad, I don't know if you got my email. I did try to return one to you, but if you didn't get it, so here's the thing. If somebody, and I've turned these away plenty of times, somebody comes up to you with a regular set, and they go, oh, I want to make all these single length. Well, great. But here's a problem. Number one is these are, as you know, these are all different weights. Now they need to be all the same. So if you take off, let's say you pick the 7 as the one, even if it's the 8, that means somewhere along the lines you need to start taking weight off the 8, the 9, the pitch, the gap. And you need to start putting weight back on the 6, the 5, and the 4, or even the 3 if they want to use one. So it's this super tedious, and when you go to do that, you run the absolute risk of ruining the design of this particular club, because you're talking about removing 7 grams and then 14 grams and then 21 grams, or even adding that much. And when you start getting up into that 10-gram range, you start impacting the way that club is going to react. Center of gravities move, the way that gets through the turf moves. One club might turn over harder than the other. It's really, really odd. Okay. Everybody asks about adding it. Oh, you can put tip weights in there. Well, that turned that thing into a hook machine. Well, but you could do it, but up to 10 grams. And then all of a sudden you're throwing lead tape all over the place and it looks like a butcher block. But nobody ever really thinks about going the other way, and it just makes it heavy. Now, the other part is you just got to start bending. Now, if you got forged clubs, yeah, you can probably get away with that. Cast clubs, you're on the ragged edge. You maybe get away with that. So you got to do that. So they don't, I would not recommend it. It's basically just wrecking a set of irons for the sake of trying an experiment. And I just really don't like doing that with people. Golf vacations are worth it if you take them in the bourbon capital of the world. Not bad, not bad. I will say we went out and got Mrs. McGough to go to what they called a bourbon Baron's bash, and it was basically it was bourbon to be tasting, but it was for kids with brain cancer, and all the proceeds went to this organization. Is called Start the Cure, and I think if I did it right, hold on, Start the Cure. Let me see. I don't. I do have a couple bands played, and this was one of them called Town Mountain, and a good little band, more of a modern country music one. And then the other one, she was a she, and right there, and she was just had a real nice singer, nothing real over the top about a traditional country. Oh, I do have it. Here it is. We'll go back here. Hold on a second. Let me get Charlie. There we go. That's what it is. The Cure starts now. That's what it's for. So if you guys are interested, you can donate. But it was really kind of cool how they did it. And of course, it's in Cincinnati. So you go to eat. You don't go to a line. You go to a tour truck. And that's what we did. We went to a tour truck. It was very, very well done. And met some folks there. There was a neat little setup. I'm not going to get too deep in the bourbon lore, but Charlie, I did find another group. Not them. New Riff is good though, and not them. Daggone it. May not have put them in here. Here they are. Those guys. If you want to check out a really decent one, I'd look up those McBrayer. They're a kind of an upstart, but do very, very well. All right, back to the comments. All righty. There's Charlie. There we go. We get right to there. Okay, my dog Rex says thumbs up. There you go. And RSG says if you can remember it. Yeah, you got to pace yourself, man. It's all about pacing and getting that meal at the right time. Peter, hello from Myrtle Beach. I enjoy golf trips. I played some very nice courses, played a 4-man scramble, shot 10 under. Only problem is my player partners didn't show. Played as a single. Wow. Okay. Brad says, golf in the past 3 weeks, or the past week, 3 rounds. Smoky Mountain Golf Course. 82, 80, or 77. Hey, not bad, dude. That's playing some solid golf. When I go to a foreign course, I'm good. You know, hell, we're good for anywhere from 80 to 89 or 90. So just depends on what's all working for that day. And so that's pretty good. Yeah. Hard Callaway Fissions. Yeah, so that's the next one. The other one that's coming out, Peter or Charlie, is a Callaway AI, and they call them Fissions. And I believe there's some. I won't say for certain, but I think there might be a little titanium in this, or it's more forged parts, and you can get them in a dark finish as well. When we start posting in the 70s, those 80s don't look good so more. Well, I'd like to be able to do that. I got to golf more. When I went down to Florida, I played more rounds in Florida than I've played in Ohio this year. PW with the X. This time I will lock them down. There you go. Charlie wants to know what shafts, and they're Axioms, the 85 grams. That's a good little shaft. Phil K is from Austin. Hand is mostly healed. That's what we like to hear, sir. But yet you go out and play 54 holes with mostly healed. Really? Hopefully you got clearance. And Finger Lakes region in New York. Oh, and 18 yesterday back here in Austin where the weather is perfect now. Yeah, it's getting a little cooler. All righty. I didn't see Robin saying hello to everyone. Did you leave her in Florida? She probably would have liked that, Charlie. I think of all of us, she was the most disappointed for having to come back home. Okay. Oh, and there she goes. She's starting to answer. There she is. She dozed off. You know, we got back in Friday, Charlie, and the next day got up and we were hitting it like gangbusters. And Sunday was like, yeah, it's not too bad. Monday woke up, got going to work, and it felt like I was dragging a 40-pound weight with me everywhere I went. Now, here's Robin, here's Robin, here's Robin, here's Robin. There's PZ answering back. There's Robin again. All righty, there's RS. Was hoping I could do a side-by-side comparison of a 7-iron of each club manufacturers you have with the same loft. Okay, when that comes up, but it'll be 6 irons because I normally work with 6 irons. Yeah, 6 irons. It looks like an 8, but it's really a 6. There we go. And we'll see what that does. Okay. Planning on a golfing trip for couples to Sequoia National Golf in October. That's cool. Not bad. We're going to go into Tennessee in October. I just don't know where. It's a guy's trip that's from the plant. Okay. 2 dozen pricey. Well, I took 2 dozen golf balls with me, Charlie, and I came back with 1. So not too bad. There's my dog Rex. Robin's talking. Robin's saying, hey, Frank and Deb. Hey, guys, how are you? I feel like Krister. I just ordered another graphite tour design. Maybe so, right? Hey, at PZ, if you ever get that opportunity and you're going for that level of golf shaft, I'm here to tell you, check out the Acra Shogun. The thing works and it's smooth, right? If you like the AD, the green, the 70X in green, or you can probably get one at 60X, smooth shaft, man. I actually got a 60X in mine. I have no business playing an X-Flex shaft, but I married it up to a Wilson club of all things, and when I'm through it, it goes pretty decent. All right. It's Royal St. Andrews. Yeah. Royal St. Augustine. You are correct, Kenny. For certain. Right. Royal St. Andrews. If I said don't go to Royal St. Andrews, are you kidding me? I'd be slapped. I ought to be slapped. Mr. Three Putt from Denton, Texas. He loves the show. Thank you so very much. Got a question? Let her go. Rick's on here. How you seeing, Rick? How you doing, guy? There's Frank. How you doing, bud? Thank you for coming on. Jason Fisher. What do you say, bud? Sorry I showed up late. No bad. What courses did you play? I live in South Daytona. Played LPGA a few times. Plantation Bay. Plantation Bay is where we could have went. We were up there. We did the Royal St. Augustine. We did St. John's Bay. We did Slammer and Esquire. We did Stillwater. I think that's going to be one that's an up and coming. It's so new. The course is only 2 years old. It's so new that they're still building the clubhouse. It's supposed to be done at the end of the year. It looked like there was a lot more that they needed to do that to get to the end of the year. But they're working out of a trailer, and as they should be. The course was a good layout. When rolling putts early in the morning, you get rooster tails off of. In a lot of cases, if you get there before the lawnmowers, you are not wrong. But if you hit one like hit a line driver or get one out there that starts rolling, you should see that thing in a fairway. Holy cow! It looked like a speedboat. There's Dan. Hope the vacation was great. Today I received the Opus Raw wedges and now have all the components will ship to you for assembly. Okay, very cool. That will be neat to see. I'm kind of interested in that one. Look at that. Hey, there's Krister. He did show up. And now, PZ, you don't have to worry about feeling like him. He is here. All right, we will watch for them. Looks like a nice, relaxing golf trip. It is. There's very little stress. You know, the rhythm is we get up early enough that here as of late, we just basically skip breakfast, or in some cases, we'll stop by a McDonald's or whatever and grab a biscuit, because normally the courses don't have anything for a breakfast setup, and then we take snacks with us, and somewhere around the turn we start getting a little bit hungry. So if they've got some at the turn, we'll pick up something there. Most part is we've got like trail mix, bananas. We There's something that Bob brought into us, and we eat hot tamales for that sugar rush. And then here lately, we've been eating those Nature Valley granola bars, and that tides us over till we get home. Go jump in a pool, get cold off, go walking around clothes, and go find some place to eat. Like Outbacks or the local mom and pops, in order to get, and then we eat like a pig. Yes, they are. They are fairly new. They had DG 115s, but they never had the smaller ones. I think that's probably a new addition of either this year or even late last. True Temper's always been looking for that golf shaft that will step up and play with the dynamic gold. Of course, the dynamic gold is there, without getting funny, is their gold standard, because they sell tons of those. However, the golfing public is getting more discerning, and the 120 is literally just a little too heavy. And I think they're finding a little success with the dynamic gold 115s and then dynamic gold 105s, that kind of stuff. And they needed something that played a little softer, which was always, instead of the dynamic gold, was just the dynamic, which was back in the day was a purple banded instead of a gold banded. Then they had dynamic lights, or dynamic golds. So you had dynamic golds, or dynalite golds, and that didn't work out very well either. But they're always trying to find that one, and that dynamic shaft actually fit way more people than the dynamic gold ever did, but it was just too popular to give up. Now these DG mids very well may be the way to go. I emailed the question yesterday. I have a customer. Yeah, I hopefully you saw that, Brad. I answered a little bit ago. Well, if you listen, honestly, he might be adamant about it, Brad, but all you're going to do is wreck an iron set. And, and honestly, if you did it right, like Washawn does it right, the lofts are very much traditional. And then what you'd have to do is if you want to go ahead and do it and wreck it, have him go out and play and have him give you his distances on these clubs as is, and then I would adjust afterwards instead of just guessing at it. That way, because if you adjust him then, that's a charge. And then if he comes back, then charge him again because he's the one doing this experiment. Krister got a new Venice Black TR 5X put in his Cobra at almost 47 inches. I don't need to swing as aggressive and get the same club and ball speed. And I know you're a striker there, bud, but hopefully you're finding the middle more often. I also go test the new GTs tomorrow. Ooh, would like to hear about that on Monday. Are you training for long drive? It's weird. Thin is that, although it's a weird thing, I get a higher angle of attack number with the shaft than any other shaft. Well, it's probably because it's so daggone long. Who knows? Just longer in the woods, yeah. Jim, I look at as value received for money paid for an experience of the course. Of course, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing like the old course. You better believe it. Now, there are some places that I would certainly pay that kind of money, and almost did when I was over in Ireland or in Scotland. And had I had a tee time or been able to plan that far enough in advance, I would have played it because it was $180, and that is a drop in the bucket to play St. Andrews. I paid well more than that to play King's Barn, and it was truly a nice golf course, to be sure, and it was very much a link style, but it wasn't St. Andrews, right? I would do that in a minute. But I can say now I've played a couple of courses that other people can relate to. Here we go. Brendan is in from Ireland. What do you say? Irish Open kicks off this week on my home track at Royal County Down, caddying at the program. Well, good for you, sir. Take it all in and enjoy it. That'd be fun. Get into some conversations with the pros and see what's up. Yeah, take some photos. If you get some, send them to me, and I'll put them up here for us to talk about. Let's see. Brandon took his even roll grip off at 90 grams and put a new 65. Do I need to add weight at the end of the butt or just grip down? I wouldn't do either. It all depends. Yes, what you're asking me is, did you mess with the balance of the club? And the answer is yeah. You took off 25 grams, and it ought to feel a little head heavy. Now, a lot of people might like that, right? They very well may like that. So I would give it you don't need to add, would you need to add some at the butt end? If you don't like it, then the answer is yes. And if you've got it, if your 65 gram grip will accept Super Strokes do that, where you can take that lid off of it and you can put another weight down in the shaft. Balance Certified had one that you could do that and add weight and do that. Another group would be called Tour Lock. And reason why I say these is they're really easy to put in and take out in case you went too heavy or too light. What do we got here? Nicholas Spirulezzi. Okay. Today I played +6 with my new club's Paradigm X, but is necessary smoke or Paradigm. I was with Maverick Max before. If you're playing now, if I interpret this correctly, when I see +6, that's really, really good. That's pro level with my new clubs. But the other question. So, Nicola, I'm gonna make two interpretations here, bud. Number one, if you're playing to a +6, and if you're talking about handicap +6, and you're playing with Paradigm X's, do you need to smoke or Paradigm? The answer is no. You're playing to a +6. Would you get any more out of the Paradigm? No. Would you get any more out of the smoke? Maybe. All right, but it's you're going from a forge club to a cast club, so the feel will be definitely different. All right, particularly if you're from the Maverick. Now, if this is European and you're playing to a +6, meaning you're probably shooting an 80 or a 90 or an 80, a mid 80s kind of score, and could you do anything? The answer would still be the same. The X model, if you like the Maverick Max, the Paradigm X is more of its updated counterpart. Now the Smoke has a model, and it would be a little more forgiving than the Paradigm X. And again, it's still cast, and it would feel different. But now in this particular, going the other way, because at a +6 handicap, that means you're shooting into the 60s basically. A feel might be a problem for a person that shoots like that. If it's on the other side, that feel may not be a problem, and you would be just a little bit better with the smoke. Is it worth it? That's purely up to you. From a performance factor, it's very small. Miss Deb, how are you? Let's see. All right. Robin and Jim, Rick and I are enjoying the new clubs, still getting used to the new changes, but we are liking them. Rick is hitting his driver really well. My driver and my 4 are working well for me too. Well done. Thank you, Deb. I appreciate that. Glad to know that that's working. Very, very nice. We did some serious modifications for Deb on her driver, but she also took out and hit the we got into some Callaway stuff. We got Rick, I believe, into maybe even Wilson. But I'm glad you guys are liking it. Just queued up your Shogun review. I'm watching this, following this fine show. Dude, I'm here to tell you. I'll shorten it all up in one thing. No spines. Way high quality build. Top-notch gear, top-notch materials, and you got the blue is what the guys are using in those long drives, those 140 mile an hour swing speeds. And I tried it and I hit these bullets, and they went straight as an arrow. They just never got more than 6 foot off the ground. The greens and the reds are for more. They relate more to each other. The red is for the more aggressive. The green is for the guy that's a little bit less aggressive. But the ball flights are very, very similar. And I'm here to tell you, and I've done it with a bunch of people, and I just put it in their club, and they turn around and they say, "What did you do?" And it's a totally different golf club, and it's really, really quite cool. PZ says to Krister, "You are Brokem, and welcome to the family." No doubt. Oh yeah, 5X. Well, you went really long, so you did need the 50 grammer. Good for you. And Brendan tried to install a Grip Master leather grip, and the whole inside just fell apart. Never had this happen before. Oh. Now, I've had issues with Grip Masters, the ones that have like the kangaroo stuff leather on the outside. And what's happened, Brendan, quite possibly, because I did have one do this to me. So that inner listing the outer coating is wrapped around, it's called an inner listing. All right. And basically, if you were to take it off, it's a rubber husk that you would slide on, and you could rewrap it if you had a redo. and I believe even Master Grip might actually make them. Anyway, that underlisting is very thin, and if there's the slightest little cut, notch, burr, or whatever, or if you just push it on and you squeeze it and you get it to where it's caught and it starts tearing, you are done. And I had that happen, and I on that grip, I didn't know I did it because it was on the underneath side, and I had a flat spot about that long under the grip, and I went to grip it. I'm like, this is the most awful feeling grip. And when I turned it over, you could see where it went. It was ovaled and then flat and then ovaled again. And come to find out, I had a burr. And so it cost me, and those things aren't cheap. So there you go. All right. So again, guys, we've gotten down to the bottom. We're all the way to the back up to the top. Again, thanks. We had some more folks from all over the planet that were talking to us. That's awesome. I appreciate that very, very much. Again, golfing vacations, I believe they're very much worth it. I don't know, it's all about what you want to do. It's all about the fun that you make out of it. And if you got good friends to share it with, it makes it that much better. Okay, it just does. And as always, guys, I'm going to work on putting my new test clubs together this week. Don't forget lefties, if you're interested in some irons. Lefties, the Forge, the Pro, and the normal model. And for anybody looking for a wedge, this is actually a really nice little wedge. Or the other ones, send us an email and we will hook you up. Okay, guys, appreciate it. Thank you so very much. And as always, let's see your scores go low.